CEU, The Continuing Story, written by Leonard Cernik and edited by Tony Adams. Prologue. Leonard Cernik published his first book in 2005. In 1985 through 1987, I came up with a name brainstorming in my home, the name Cosmic Eliminator Unanimous Anonymous, which I thought was unique. I first thought I could use it as a pen name to write fiction stories and publish. That would leave my name, Leonard Cernik, for any technical literature I might want to publish since I was an engineer. I decided to reserve the unique name as a trade name in the state of Nebraska, documenting the conception date and reserve it for my use and protect my rights to the name. It is still a legal trade name, currently within the Nebraska Secretary of State office. Instead of a pen name, I decided to use the initials as my main character name, CEUA, in the title of my first book. My enemies shortened the name to Cosmic Eliminator and made a threatening name out of it and twisted it in implying that it was my name, ignoring my name of Leonard Cernik. The news media picked it up and spread the lies of my enemies and people that don't know me. Most of my enemies are dead now of old age, got cancer, or died of natural causes. There are still a lot of retired enemies out there, and they will hate this prologue. They can get over it. People will harass me. I used to say, I have never seen so many stupid people in one place. I also said I was going to quit my job, become a lawyer, and make a living suing stupid people. I got an involuntary layoff from the Goodyear Lincoln plant in 2003, after over 25 years with Goodyear. I took a buyout and started drawing my pension at around 50 years old. My job I was doing in Lincoln for 11 years could also be done in Akron, Ohio. I was doing highly specialized work, FEA. Prior to that assignment, I spent time in the Lincoln plant and Akron, Ohio, working for the entire division and a special assignment in New Bedford, Massachusetts, at request of a director. I watched Goodyear sell division after division and knew the end was in sight for the Lincoln plant. In 2007, Goodyear sold the division that the Lincoln plant belonged to. I waited until electronic publishing came around in the early 2000s. In 2005, I spent $10,000 publishing with Ex Libris, who I also paid their artists to do some artwork for me, which I own. I gave a lot of free books out in 2005, and my Goodyear Lincoln enemies went ballistic because of the synonym names I used in the first fiction story. I made about $50 on a $10,000 investment. At least I could say I was a published author, which was an expensive learning experience. It got so bad that my enemies made life difficult for me, just because of their narrow-mindedness. Thus, I wrote the first book in 2017 of the Unanimous Anonymous series, covering 35 years of writing. All the names that offended my enemies were changed in the first series book. This left them using the Cosmic Eliminator name. I amplified the problem by using that name in the title of some stories prior to the Unanimous Anonymous series. They continued to spread lies that I was crazy and a threat. The law enforcement agencies picked up on their lies, and it has been nothing more than a pain in my butt. The FBI and the news media have completely invaded my privacy because of my enemies. I hate the shortened Cosmic Eliminator name. I have a right to remain silent because anything I say or do would be twisted and attacked for expressing my opinions by the FBI, Gestapo, and many piranhas in the news media. The FBI and the media have conducted a sting operation to try and trap me for years. They did this after I would not voluntarily come to talk to them. I have nothing to say to them. So much for venting. The main characters are CEUA and his son Aquarius Peace and his daughter Anne Marie. Almost all of their names were changed in the writing of Unanimous Anonymous. The spouses of these three main characters will be called husband and wife. I have known Tony Adams since around 1983. I first met him in Akron's Advanced Concept Department. I worked closely with him for the last 11 years I was with Goodyear, when he was in Akron and I was in Lincoln. Furthermore, I have kept in contact with him all these years since we had some similar backgrounds and interests. The secrets of the universe in the beginning, the planet Earth and birth. There was a vast nothingness, a very large cold vacuum. In this hostile environment, there were entities. These entities varied in strength. They were specks of white light of varying intensity and size, with the largest one being 1 meter in diameter. In human terms, they might be considered psychic energy force. They communicated by telepathy since they really didn't have any body, as humans would understand. Despite their size, they had enormous power. They could create an antimatter or matter object just by the energy force. They had creative telepathic debates on what humans would call philosophy. They also had games on who could create the most imaginative matter or antimatter object or groups of objects. The entities were organized in a hierarchical structure. There was one entity which possessed the most power and size, controlling and being feared by all. He was called the Judge. There were two lesser entities that humans would consider advisors. They were called Justice and Piety. These advisors controlled 1,000 neutral entities. They only followed Judge's guidance. Below these advisors were two entities, which each had under them 1,000 less powerful entities. They were called Help and Haven. The 1,000 lesser entities were split into two gender called positive and negative. These two entities reported directly to the supreme power, the Judge. They also consulted from time to time with the two advisors. During one of their games of creating antimatter and matter objects, there was a dispute over who had created the most imaginative structure. Help thought his was the best of all. Haven felt his concept was better. They appealed to the two advisors. Justice and Piety did not want to get involved in this dispute. They asked some of their neutral entities to evaluate the dispute. The neutral entities reported unanimously that Haven had the best concept. This, however, did not satisfy Help. He disagreed with the neutral entities and appealed directly to Justice and Piety, who decided that they better evaluate the dispute. Their neutral enemies did not want to be harassed by Help because he was very powerful. Help could destroy them with cosmic energy discharges. Help could change their neutral energy and eliminate it altogether. During all this, Haven remained a quiet observer, awaiting the decision. Justice and Piety decided that Haven's concepts were far superior to Help's. Help was very angry, sending off cosmic energy discharges, disrupting their environment. Judge immediately felt the change and asked his advisors, Justice and Piety, what was going on. They explained the situation to Judge. He immediately called Help and Haven into a psychic discussion about the dispute. They each showed Judge their concepts. Judge could see that Haven's concept was far superior to Help's concept. Both concepts were on a very small scale, but the potential was tremendous if the concept was expanded to fill the cold vacuum. Judge established a game and philosophical exercises to develop something that would fill their cold vacuum environment. This was the main purpose for his creation of entities under himself and the advisors. Judge gave Help and Haven his decision. Haven had a superior concept. Help was furious. He became a threat to the entire vacuum environment. Judge asked Help's 1,000 entities what they thought of his decision. Half agreed with Help, and the other half remained neutral. They remained neutral But Help was furious with their uncommitted attitude. He started harassing entities under him by absorbing some of their energy for not backing him up. He was more powerful and began destroying some of them, drawing their energy into himself. Judge immediately sensed the imbalance occurring. Judge was very angry with Help. He called Help and Haven into his vacuum changer for a discussion. Help started challenging Judge. Judge said to Help, "I will prove to you that Haven has a superior idea." Help and Haven sensed through their energy this large explosion outside Judge's vacuum chamber. Judge allowed them to sense and realize what was happening outside. Judge had started with a big bang of change of events in the vacuum outside. He started to create Haven's concept on a large scale. Help was furious. He still would not admit to his defeat by Haven. Judge separated an area in the center of this giant creation, a place for all entities. However, because of Help's attitude, Judge banished Help and his 500 followers to travel into the environment based on Haven's concept. The 400 remaining entities that were neutral in the dispute did not know what to do. Judge transferred them to the neutral energy field under the two advisors, Justice and Piety. Justice made a new entity type and called them transport entities. So now there were 400 transport entities to do what Justice and Judge wanted. One of them was Quark, who was the most powerful of all the transport entities. Help had destroyed 100 of his entities, keeping their psychic power inside himself. This made him more powerful than Haven. Haven was safe in the vacuum area constructed for the entities to live in. Justice and Piety, along with 1,400 of their entities, were more powerful than Help. They were ordered by Judge to keep track of Help and his 500 followers. Help was told that he could not return to the entity's environment chamber until he realized that Haven had a superior idea. Help could travel in Haven's concept enlarged by Judge. Help could do whatever he wanted in his new environment. Help said, "I will do everything in my power to disrupt this environment." He wanted to make it look like the inferior idea that he had sensed it was. Judge sent out Justice and Piety to observe the development of the matter and antimatter objects that continued to grow. Haven's concept was truly superior. The enlarged scale that Judge created from Haven's concept had detail and additions that were not shown in the initial concept. Judge added the detail to make it more difficult for Help and his followers. He decided to plant a seed for something that would later evolve into humanoid form. Solid bodies composed of different materials started to form. There were antimatter barriers between systems of rotating matter. During this formation, Judge decided to make one area a very special area in Haven's concept. He added a glowing energy field different from other areas. There was one area in this glowing area which he decided to establish a new life form that was similar to the entities that he had initially developed. They had to be of a form that could learn to survive in Haven's concept. They would be capable of developing the same power as Haven's entities. However, it would be of slightly different form. Judge started the energies, which would later evolve into beings of his design. They would exist on a body of matter, which was unique. These beings were very much like humans. It would receive cosmic energy from the center of what Judge now called the universe. This cosmic energy focused on a body of matter that would help the beings evolve closer and closer to entities under Haven's control. This energy force would overcome Help's vow to disrupt Haven's idea and the Judge's creation. Justice and Piety, while traveling, evaluated the evolution of Judge's universe. They entered the special area developed by Judge. The entities found a blue planet with white clouds and a substance called water. The entities telepathically communicated with each other. The entities telepathically communicated to each other that they should investigate further. They found a species that walked on two legs. These beings were different from anything that they had encountered in their travels. They immediately contacted Judge and told them of their findings. Judge told them that maybe they should stay in the area for a while. After they left, they should return to it from time to time to see how these beings evolved. On one of their visits, they encountered a variation of beings who seemed to have the potential to contain energy much like them, but only in a larger and different form. Judge decided to call them humanoids. Judge gave the humanoids special gifts. On one of their visits, they noticed that these humanoids were doing things that Justice and Piety sensed were unnatural acts. They telepathically informed Judge. He decided to visit and see these beings. He did not inform Justice and Piety that they were of the humanoid form he developed. Judge was angry at what he found. They had evolved differently than what he had hoped. They were not in perfect harmony, but they were in almost utter chaos. Help was definitely influencing these beings to get back at Judge for his choosing Haven's concept. Help did not realize that these beings had been evolved from Judge's ideas and not Haven's. Judge picked up several hundred beings. He gave them special gifts to counteract Help's influence. Judge told them that if they would abstain from their past unnatural acts, they could keep his gifts. These beings had psychic energy, which, when used properly, could accelerate their evolution. This energy is stored in what beings called brains. Judge allowed them to use 100% of their brain's potential. In addition, they were filled with positive cosmic energy. They could multiply or procreate without pain. There were two genders of this being, and the gender called female could procreate with the gender called male. The procreation occurred through psychic energy interaction of the male and female gender. The female had no pain during procreation. Psychic energy or cosmic energy allowed growth of the new little being inside the female. When the little being became fully developed, it would dematerialize inside the female and rematerialize outside her. No pain of any sort occurred. The male and female could watch the being that they both created appear after a certain time period, with the female knowing when the little being would materialize outside of her. Judge erased from their memories the past prior to his gifts. They no longer followed or used unnatural acts. Judge felt that these gifts would help them evolve quicker into a form similar to Haven's legion of entities. Judge sensed that they would now be special and devoted to him like Justice, Piety, and Haven, with the 2,400 lesser entities. Judge decided to call this body of matter that these beings dwelled upon Earth. Help, with his entities, saw what Judge was doing and learned of his hopes. Help, still being a very angry entity, decided to disrupt Judge's work. Help was seeking revenge to Judge for not choosing his idea. Help found these beings to be very gullible. He easily influenced them back to their unnatural acts and making their lives chaotic. Justice and Piety saw what Help had done. They immediately informed Judge. Judge returned to Earth and became very angry at what he saw. He confronted these beings, taking away 75% of their gifts. He asked them what they had done. Judge wanted to know what influenced the change. The beings had a gathering in which a stranger gave them a liquid he called alcohol. After drinking this liquid, they lost some of their control and started to experiment with their humanoid body parts, which led into unnatural acts. Judge was angry at their weakness and told them that they now had to toil and have pain like other beings on Earth. Judge still allowed them to retain 25% of their gifts. They could continue to evolve, but at a much slower rate. Justice and Piety told Judge that the stranger that the beings referred to was help in disguise. Judge returned to the center of the universe. He told Justice and Piety to continue their monitoring of Haven's concept. They were to make notes as they observed the expansion of the universe. Judge told Piety to visit these beings on Earth from time to time and inform him of their progress. Piety and Justice didn't realize that Judge was capable of monitoring everything. Judge just wanted a second opinion of Haven and his creative masterpiece. Judge also created beings in other locations of the universe. He told Justice and Piety to have the entities check up on them from time to time. Justice and Piety were monitoring Judge's special beings on Earth. Judge also created a second universe with a space body he called Birth. There, the humanoids retained 100% of the gifts Judge had given them. This made them superhuman, and Birth was kept a secret from help. The parallel universe space body called Earth knew nothing of the space body called Birth that occupied exact same space as Earth. Judge knew that the humanoids on Earth would evolve into more intelligent beings, gaining 50% of Judge's gifts, using more of their brain power. Earth evolved from one dimension to the next. By 2021, they had reached the fifth dimension. Humanoids could make choices. Some evolved faster into the sixth dimension, which occupied the same space as the fifth dimension. They were 500 Earth years ahead of the fifth dimension. Judge and entities were in the seventh dimension. They could travel between dimensions in the Earth universe and move to the parallel universe that Birth existed in and unknown to the entity Help. Chapter 1, CEUA and the Planet Angelica. Introduction. This is the third book planned in the initial series, The Planet Angelica. The short story planned in the initial series, The Planet Tone, was written in a form of two short stories by A.D. Adams. The first is available on Amazon and called The Dragon Protector of Tone. I gave Tony the following information from my earlier writings so he could write the second short story on Tone. They also completed the Explorer 1 android. Explorer 1 was a lot like the original Searcher, but with added features and double the electronic storage space to retain information found during exploration of a new planet. Explorer 1 was packed full of analysis equipment for every conceivable experience. They had completed Explorer 1 just in time. The travelers had encountered a galaxy in a solar system with an inhabitable planet, much like Earth. CEUA decided to slow down and go into orbit of a planet that Haven called Tone. They stopped just long enough for Searcher 2 to take Explorer 1 down to the surface and leave him with a new transportation MLM to explore Tone. CEUA had developed an invisible cloaking device and installed it in Explorer 1 and his transportation MLM. CEUA was in a hurry to continue to the center of the universe, and they were still a 2-month journey away. When Searcher and the MLM-2 arrived back in orbit, they all reset their course for the center of the universe. Anne-Marie, while working on Searcher 2 and Explorer 1, drew up electronic plans for a new Android series that combined all the features of the Searcher series and the Explorer series, which they would call Seeker. Thus, this ends the 2016 planned trilogy. However, this trilogy is supplemented with additional short stories. The Entity Haven Viewpoint. CEUA and his family left the planet Tone after picking up the android Explorer 1 and its databanks full of information and transport MLM. He was not sure where they were going to next. He decided to contact Aquarius Peace, who he and his new wife and now newborn grandchild had remained at the center of the universe. Aquarius told Sia that he and his wife wanted to join them in space, and Aquarius heard of a new planet they should visit. Aquarius and his wife and child said goodbye to Judge and all the other entities at the center of the universe. Judge's parting gift was plans for the neutron neutralizer that Father Matt had taken back to Earth. He was enlightened with lots of knowledge and the fact that the neutron neutralizer was especially effective against the evil entity Help's influence. Aquarius, traveling through space, had his replicator produce a miniature neutron neutralizer. Aquarius met with CEUA since he made modifications to his MLM that made it easier to catch up and meet CEUA in space. Aquarius was reunited with his mother and sister and introduced CEUA's new grandchild born in Eden in the center of the universe. Aquarius was overjoyed with meeting his father, mother, and sister's family. They were overjoyed with seeing Aquarius's child, who is already exhibiting superpowers and accelerated growth rate. Aquarius told CEUA of a new planet they should visit that the entities at the center of the universe had enlightened him with. The entities called it Angelica. CEUA telepathically communicated to Justice and Pleiade, and they agreed that the planet would be a good place to visit. Aquarius placed the planet coordinates in the navigation computers that were updated by Haven with the maps of the universe. Everyone arrived in the MLMs at the planet Angelica. They went into orbit, and Haven said it was safe to land all the MLM spaceships near the main population center. The name of the center was called Peace. There, they met the inhabitants of the planet. The angel Michael greeted them. Michael showed them a place to stay and telepathically invited them to dinner, where they could meet other angels. While eating, everyone heard thunder in the sky, and the opaque walls showed a flash of light. Haven, Justice, and Pleiade were with them. Haven informed CEUA that the evil entity Help was on the surface by their MLM spaceships. He also told the entire family and all the inhabitants that the evil entity Help did not want the MLM spaceships to go back to Earth. Help destroyed all of the spaceships. Help, unknowing that the miniature neutron neutralizer that Aquarius had the replicator make was a defensive weapon. Help, in the process of destroying the MLM spaceships, triggered the neutron neutralizer to go off. It unleashed energy that caused a thunder and flash of light they had seen, and in the process destroyed the evil entity Help. Without their leader, the other evil entities were instantly changed to good entities by the neutron neutralizer. CEUA's family liked the planet Angelica, but did not want to stay there. After some time, CEUA's family expressed to CEUA a desire to go back to their home on Earth. With the evil entity Help destroyed and Father Matt's android given the military the plans to the neutron neutralizer, Earth had changed. Everyone lived in peace and harmony with no more wars or terrorists. CEUA told them he had found a better place to go than Earth. He told them of the parallel universe to Earth called Birth, and told them how he had met with the inhabitant leaders. He knew Birth would welcome them. His family asked how they were going to get there. The inhabitants of Angelica told them that they could go to Earth a lot, but had their own way of getting there. CEUA summoned the entity Quark. Quark told CEUA telepathically that he could transport his entire family and androids there in an instant. They all said their goodbyes to the inhabitants of the planet Angelica, and in an instant were on the parallel universe Birth. There, everyone met the leaders of Birth, and they were happy to see them. They arranged places for the entire family to stay. They taught the family all about Birth. They also telepathically told them that since Aquarius's neutron neutralizer destroyed the evil entity Help and changed all the evil entities to good, the inhabitants of Birth were not worried about enlightening the inhabitant leaders of Earth about their existence. Now that leaves the Beolites' existence on Earth, a future problem CEUA would have to handle. Chapter 2: CEUA and the Beolites. The Entity Quark Viewpoint. It was the year 2060. CEUA and his family were teleported to the parallel universe Birth. The evil entity Help and all the evil entities were either destroyed or changed on the planet Angelica. The inhabitant leaders on Birth were no longer concerned with making their presence known to their parallel universe Earth or the Beolites. CEU and the Birth leaders who sent an emissary with CEU to the planet Earth military that had given CEU the spaceships he put the MLMs on and built for his space journeys that started in 2030. The Earth was a different offshoot of the Earth CEU experienced when he went to meet with the 2021 Beolites. That Earth was a little different than a dimension of Earth that CEU had come from. The Earth was still backward in the fifth dimension, whereas CEU and his family came from the more evolved sixth dimension. Judge and entities were from the seventh dimension. CEUA and the Birth emissary decided to meet with the Earth's leaders in both dimensions that CEUA had visited and come from. On the Earth dimension that CEUA visited the Beolites, they met with the military and informed them who were in the UFOs they had been seeing and the Beolites who had 3 growing colonies hidden on Earth's oceans. Earth's fifth dimension had just finished what was close to a world war going on for years. CEU gave that dimension plans for the neutron neutralizer. They watched that dimension change with the help of the neutron neutralizer. When it was time to meet with the Beolites, an emissary from Birth and both Earth's dimensions traveled to the Beolite colony in the Siberian Ocean. Quark did his job well. There, the Beolites were surprised to see CEUA again. They knew a war had gone on, but remained hidden. CEUA had Quark put up an energy shield for the emissaries, not quite sure how the Beolites would react to their appearance. The Beolites were telepathically communicating with their visitors. After long negotiations, the Beolites agreed to share their underwater technology with everyone. The groundwork was laid for future negotiations on technology transfers. CEUA went back with the emissaries to their dimensions and parallel universe. Now it was time to go visit the Earth sixth dimension that CEUA had come from. CEUA and the emissary from Birth, with the help of Quark, went to the Earth dimension that CEUA had come from. They were a little more advanced than the Earth dimension CEUA had just visited. They were using MLMs everywhere. The military leaders were happy that CEUA made it back. They were a little upset that CEUA's spaceships were destroyed, but after they were informed of the circumstances and happenings that occurred after Father Matt had enlightened them on his return, they were happy. The emissary from Birth formed an alliance with that Earth sixth dimension to share technology. The other Earth dimension would have to get their technology from the Beolites. CEUA informed that dimension of Earth that they and his family decided to stay in the parallel universe on Birth. They were happy for him and his family, looking forward to the technology transfer with Birth. CEUA and the emissary with him returned to Birth. His family was happy that it was only an instant that CEUA had been gone and all that he and the emissary from Birth had accomplished. Chapter 3: CEUA and the Birth Universe. From the Entity Wisdom's viewpoint. The Entity Wisdom was Judge's contact entity with the inhabitants of Birth. Birth was about 500 years ahead of the sixth dimension on Earth that CEUA had come from. The leaders of Birth decided to gradually introduce new technology to Earth. They could transfer things from the Earth dimension to the Birth parallel universe. The first thing that CEUA asked Wisdom to do is to have Birth's transporters move his crystal pyramid house from the Earth's sixth dimension near Vale to the mountains of the parallel universe Birth. There, Wisdom's Birth technology upgraded everything in the pyramid to the latest Birth technology. CEUA's whole family moved into the crystal pyramid with hangars for the latest Birth spacecraft and interdimensional transport craft. CEUA arranged a special place he could always meet with Birth leaders Justice, Pleiade, Haven, Quark, Wisdom, and Judge. CEUA upgraded the laboratory for his wife and daughter to produce the latest Birth androids. They loved the speed that they could produce androids to help them. And with the latest Birth technology, transfer middle engrams without the need of Aquarius Peace to transfer his middle engrams into the telepathic androids. Engrams are the electrical energy the brain uses to function. Aquarius Peace, CEUA's son, was advanced mentally as much as the most powerful and intelligent inhabitant on Birth. Birth leaders had Aquarius Peace become a member of the leadership of Birth and put his son into the most advanced learning centers. At the age of 6, Aquarius Peace Jr. is already as intelligent and powerful as his father. Being born on Eden at the center of the universe with thousands of entities around gave him special intelligence. The parallel universe Birth avoided the problems of Earth's Adam and Eve, since they did not have the evil entities' influence to make the same mistakes they did on Earth, and they retained all knowledge Judge had enlightened them with. Childbirth consisted of the baby in the womb dematerializing and rematerializing outside the mother's body. CEUA's wife, daughter, and Aquarius Peace's wife had births in the same manner as the inhabitants of Birth, and all of CEUA's family and androids were telepathic like the inhabitants of Birth, making it easier to communicate with everyone. Their bodies were more advanced than the average human on Earth who had to go through the pains of childbirth. The Birth leaders made Aquarius Peace their contact person with both dimensions of Earth since CEUA and his wife retired and traveled in this new parallel universe. The entity Quark took them wherever they wanted to go. Aquarius Peace was a space cadet and later in the sixth dimension, Earth Space Command military, before he left with CEUA on his travels around Earth's universe. Birth was in a completely different universe, and Birth military and civilians had learned how to travel between the two universes. Birth theorists think that there may be a third yet unexplored universe. Aquarius Peace was able to give the Earth's sixth dimension some sort of Birth's older universe transport craft and teach them how to use it. Aquarius Peace also made contact with the 3 Beolite colonies, one in the Siberian Ocean, one between Hawaii and Alaska, and the other colony between New Zealand and Antarctica. The Beolites were having trouble communicating with their more backward Earth in the 5th dimension. After Aquarius Peace gave Earth representatives telepathic converters, the transition of Beolite technology to Earth went more smoothly. 5th dimension Earth almost started a war with the Beolites and would have been wiped out by them if it had not been for the 6th dimension's Earth's help. Aquarius Peace, with his superior intellect, smoothed out the difference and prevented a war that would have wiped out the humans in that Earth 5th dimension. Too much of Earth politics and politicians were looking for their own gain. Aquarius Peace gave Earth and the Beolites communication devices like a hotline to iron out troubles before they got out of control. It was all telepathic communication since the Beolites had no mouths and absorbed nutrients and oxygen through their skin. Aquarius Peace returned to Birth to live with his wife and Aquarius Peace Jr. in the Crystal Pyramid. Aquarius Peace is the true cosmic eliminator, since he destroyed the evil entity, Help. The end. Epilogue. Tony edited most of this story for spelling and grammar, plus editing the story to be a better read. I am responsible for the content. My daughter Mary did all the artwork. I am not sure if I will write any more short stories. Check out the works of A.D. Adams on Amazon. The Unanimous Anonymous series is also on Amazon. I hope that you enjoy this thought line.